Right, let's talk about professional skills. Now, it's a big change. It's a huge change. We are talking now 1/5 of the exam marks are going to be awarded to professional skills. 20 marks are going to be there. And those 20 marks are going to be allocated between 4 areas: communication, analysis and evaluation, skepticism, and commercial acumen. And it's a huge change. It's a huge change. I know some of these skills have been in papers like SBL, but that has really no relevance to the way they're going to be tested in my paper or how they're going to be tested in my colleague's paper, Ben's paper in what is going to be AAA, and what is going to be, say, Jeff's paper in APM. It's got different angles to it. All 4 of them are tested in question 1. So all 4 are in question 1, and the latter 3 are tested in what is going to be section B. So in question 1, you'll get 10 marks out of 50 for professional skills. And in questions 2 and 3, why they call it section B, I'll never understand. Yeah, it's all compulsory. In section B, it will be just analysis, evaluation, skepticism, and commercial acumen. And they will be awarded 5 out of a maximum of 7 marks. I'll pause there first of all. Does anybody have any initial questions about the overview? If the answer is no, then just type in no. Any initial queries before I go into the details? Yes, no, yes. Just want to check. Moving forward. Nothing has come in. Right. Okay. So that's what we've got. Now let's have a look at them in terms of each skill. Right. So what is each skill and how it's going to be worth? Communication is only in question number 1. And really, this is the communication is the one that is replacing the old structure and presentation marks. You'll remember, well, if you have done, have done this paper before, or you've seen the current paper, you know that in Q1 there is 4 marks for structure and presentation. This is now being replaced with what is going to be the communication marks. So what are you going to get the marks for? First of all, as before, report format. In Q1 report format, the fact that you're saying this is a report to the board of directors of, I don't know, Sunil PLC, Sunil Incorporated, Sunil Company, fine. Introduction and conclusion, that you've got to do an intro, you've got to do a conclusion to pick up these communication marks. Here's the new one, actually. Here's the new one that's come in. Headings and subheadings. That's a new one. That wasn't in the current format. So though we expect you to, in your current format, to use headings and subheadings, that has been incorporated now. And that's why it's going to give you the extra mark there. And you are expected automatically to put your calculations into the spreadsheet appendices. And this is really key. They are expecting you to use all of the spreadsheet functions and shortcuts. And it mentions that quite clearly. MPV function, IRR function, MIRR function. I'm not going to talk about BSOP because there is a change coming in on BSOP, and I can't say anything at this point in time. I'm not going to say anything about that at this point in time until the announcement is made about the change in BSOP. Yeah, but you are expected to be able to use all those shortcut functions, right? And that's going to be really key as far as what is going to be that communication element is concerned. So that's, we expect that to be worth 5 marks out of the 10 in what is going to be Q1. Can I check? I'll keep doing. Any questions on communication marks first of all? Any questions on that? You're not penalized for spelling errors. You are not going to be penalized for grammatical errors. However, if you don't write in full sentences and paragraphs, you will be penalized. You will be penalized if you don't put it into sentences and paragraphs. That's going to be a key element of what's going to come into play. Okay. Analysis and evaluation. I'll go back, Joyce. This is always going to be report format. I would say 9 out of 10 questions, Joyce, will be report format. They may go to memorandum format. In the history of AFM questions, there's only ever been one question which had a memorandum format, question CMC. And that one has not been revamped yet. So I don't think they will go to that initially. I think they've mentioned report format, and I think they'll stick to report format. Joyce, is that okay? Is that cleared that query? I don't want to move on unless everybody's happy with the queries dealt with. Can I check? Yes, is that okay, Joyce? Yeah, so I would say yeah. So 19. It's good. I think it'll be report format. Okay, analysis and evaluation. This can appear anywhere across the 3 questions. What is analysis? Well, what is analysis? Analysis is, can you do the AFM calculations? Now, I'm a great believer, especially during the teaching phase of my courses, I'm a great believer in that you got to know the processes. You got to know the processes. You got to know what is going to be the bond calculations. You've got to know bond yield, what is going to be bond duration, bond market value, WACC, risk-adjusted WACC, domestic MPV, IRR, MIRR, duration, APV, FX MPV, currency hedging using forward contracts, money market hedging, futures, options, interest rate hedging, all the way through the different methods, the different modes of business valuation, knowing how to do corporate reconstructions, feeling comfortable with dividend policy. That's analysis. That's what the analysis is. The analysis is, can you do the calc? Has there been a change there? Yes. The change is the examiners are saying, we're going to give you, we expect you to use the shortcuts. We'll be disappointed if you don't use the shortcuts now. Yeah. So all these old questions which list out the discount rates and then work out the MPV. No, that isn't acceptable anymore, because you've got more time to do what is going to be the written. Using the data correctly. It's critical. That's critical. That is looking at a piece of information and saying, I know what that relates to. I know how that I'm going to bring that into play. So, for example, if I was looking at a question whereby they've told me today's date, they've told me the day they're going to take out the loan, and they've told me the day the loan is going to stop. The fact that I'm not going to use that the latter information when the loan is going to stop is critical. That I only need today's date and when the loan is going to commence. And that's using the data correctly, but also being able to ensure that you can mention what you think is missing or what further analysis that you're going to use. Let me give you the classic further analysis. You've done through an MPV. You're happy with your MPV, but then you think to yourself, sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis. I should think about doing the what if, and then I wonder if there's a real option that they've forgotten about. I wonder if they've forgotten about one of the real options. Yeah. So that's what the analysis skill is. And I've separated out this evaluation. The evaluation skill is, can you conclude correctly on your evaluation? So I've done an APV. The base case is negative. The present value of the finance flows is positive. I'm concluding that based on the core part of the project, it's not worth taking it on. But based on the overall aspects of the project, there's a gain to what is going to be shareholders. But also the impact on the entity. What will happen to that particular entity? So, for instance, a company decides to take on further debt finance. It decides it wants to have a greater level of debt finance. The impact on the entity would be the fact that, have they soaked up all of their collateral? Have they, basically soaked all of that up? So these skills now, critical. Analysis, evaluation. I'll pause again. Please do ask any questions at this stage before I move on, because it saves me going back. Are there any questions on analysis and evaluation? I'll just wait a couple of minutes while I just have more coffee. minute or so. Let's see. Everybody's good on that? Everybody seems good on that. Right, okay, 2 down. But here's the big ones. I think these are the challenge. These 2 are the challenging ones. These, to me, are going to be the difference between whether you pass or fail, in my opinion. It's how you do these last 2. Skepticism. Right, what is it? Challenging the information. Looking at the information that's provided and thinking to yourself, is it right? Have we got everything? Is there any contradictory evidence that basically points that your conclusion is incorrect? That you should be looking at something what is going to be different to what you've looked at? Questioning the assumptions. So a good example of questioning the assumptions are the current tax rate on an FX MPV is 20%. The current tax rate is 20% on an FX MPV. But the question tells you that the government of the country is a little bit unstable. And there has been regular changes within what is going to be that government over a period of time. You think, that tax rate may not hold. That tax rate may not hold. Have you made a properly informed decision? Have you accrued for all of the factors that could be part of what is going to be that particular area? And I think, to me, this is where the big professional input comes into play. Because I think this is going to be, I personally think this is a difficult one to get, the skepticism mark. Because you've not only got to have the technical knowledge, you've also got to have the sort of ability to question what is in the data, and know, well, okay, well, what else should we be looking at to get to what is going to be an informed decision? And what goes hand in hand with that is commercial acumen, commercial knowledge. So does it work for this entity? Now, I'll give you a classic example of does it work for this entity. In my new tuition lectures, every time I'm doing a lecture now, I'm actually pausing and saying, right, how do I bring in the professional skills? So I gave an example in one of my in a lecture for my September course, the new course I've created about, right, okay, so when you're looking at a question, look at the size of the company and what they do. So let's look at me, sunilbandari.com, SDB Training Limited. You would say, Sunil, you're a training company. You have basically services. You're a private company. So therefore, it's no good telling me about, let's raise some loans based on your collateral. What collateral? I've got 34 years of training experience, and I think that's worth a lot, right? But it's not worth a lot to a bank. And this is what they're looking for. They're looking for you to show proper commercial knowledge and not to make a comment which doesn't make commercial sense. Is it practical to do? Is it feasible to do? Are you suggesting something that the company can actually do? Right? Sometimes you can not suggesting something that is feasible, commercially sensible, given what's happening within that question. Are there internal constraints? For example, you have a lack of resources inside that organization, and what are the possible future consequences of what you do? For instance, you raise more loan finance, your credit rating gets worse, the future interest you're going to pay is going to be higher, is automatically going to be higher. And they need to see this. And I look at these 4 skills, and I look at these latter 2, and I think these are going to be the challenge. The challenge is going to be skepticism and commercial acumen. Can everybody see that okay? Is that size okay? I need this for the comment on the right. Yeah? Can everybody see that okay now? You check that's the sample answer so far. Yeah? Is that okay? Right. So now this is an answer, and you're going to see on the right-hand side me marking it. You're going to see me putting the professional skills onto this. Yeah? So this is an answer. It's an answer where you can see it's been done on the ACCA practice platform. It's been produced on the spreadsheet. Look what I've done here. I've very carefully used the MPV function twice over. I've put all the cash flows in. It's not about the technical knowledge. That's part of the course. It's part of if you're going to come and join me on the course, I'll show you how to do that, right? I've got a working at the bottom. Now I'm a marker. I'm a marker, and I'm trying to put the professional skills marks in. Let's have a look. So, can everybody see that comment on the right? Can I check? Can you see the comment? Okay, it's the best size I can get it. Yeah, is that okay? So let's see what I've said here. Analysis. All MPV skills are correctly presented. The use of the MPV function on the spreadsheet is a time saver. This allows time for the comments. Everybody okay with that on the right there? Can everybody see what I've done on the right there? I'm marking it. I'm not marking it 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm putting my professional skills there. But you got to be able to do this. On my course, I've all of my calculations are done like this. From the first lecture example all the way through revision, everyone is done like that. No pen and paper calculations anywhere to be seen. On my new course, everything is done using ACCA spreadsheet because I know because I've spent so much time using what is going to be their software. I'll go down. Okay. Can everybody see this comment here on the left-hand side? Can everybody see that comment there on the left-hand side, based on the project? Yeah? Yes, okay. Look at my comment on the highlighted wording. Project should not receive. Look at my comment here on the right. Evaluation. The conclusion is correct, but the candidate needs to explain the effect upon shareholder wealth. That candidate didn't do it. You know who the candidate is? Me. This is my answer. This is my answer. This is me marking my own answer. This is me marking my own answer. So me as a candidate is now going, Sunil, you didn't mention shareholder wealth. That's not great. Yeah, time pressure. Yeah, it's okay. I'm learning from it. Yeah, here we go on the next one. The next comment is to do with that whack there. Evaluation. The candidate has recognized the company's WACC would have improved the MPV. It's an implied point, but it is there. Now, what I mean by that is this: that when you go back here at 13%, I've got a positive, and at 16%, I've got a negative. And so therefore, I've very clearly implied that the information that technically, if I'd stuck to the WACC of the company, I would have been better off. I would have been more correct in terms of what is going to be the approach. Are you happy up to there? I'll pause there. Is that okay? Everybody seen the comments here? This is the reason why I have to get the screen size like this, so I could get those commenting on the right-hand side, so you can see the marking process. Is everybody good so far with me? Just want to check it's okay. Team, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no, no, yes. Everybody happy? Up to there, yeah? Sensitivity analysis. There we go. Skepticism. Recognizing that even with the positive MPV, the variables are questionable. Skepticism. Okay. Next one. Here we go. In addition, the existence of real options, and I've highlighted real options. And obviously, you've got to know the core. You've got to know the knowledge of the course to get this, get the mark. Yeah. Acumen. Awareness of commercial opportunity that may add value. Not a bad answer, Sunil, so far. It's not bad. That's not bad at all, really. Right? That's not bad at all. Right? So that's A, done. Then let me just remind myself what was requirement B. Discuss the validity of the reasons for adjusting the discount rate. Right? And this must relate only to what was this point here. This is about they've gone from 13 to 16, and they've said it's to do with standard deviation of returns. It's to do with the foreign currency risk. There's been frequent changes in the government, etc. Yeah, etc. Yeah. So let's work down. Where am I? So here we go. Joy, I'll answer that question later. Can I answer that question later? Can I finish just the marking of this so I've got a flow? Can I hold on that question? Please, is that okay? Joy, Joyce, can I hold on that question? Yeah. So yes, I'll carry on then. I'll keep flowing, yeah? Okay. The project's cost of capital should reflect business and financial risk associated with the project. Analysis. Recognizing the link between project and appraising risks. Moving down. The project represents Colvin repeating normal business activity of manufacturing bikes. This is a core activity. Comment. Acumen. Correctly recognized business risks are being matched. I'm sticking to the knitting. I'm sticking to what I normally do, which is to make competition bikes. Yeah. In addition, the project is to be financed in such a way to maintain the capital structure. Hence, using the company's current WACC initially makes sense. Analysis. The candidate has justified why 13% should be used. Now, again, you've got to have knowledge of the syllabus here. And if I just did knowledge of the syllabus is, when you've got a core activity and you don't change your financial risk, you should be using your company WACC. So somebody like me, I put something on LinkedIn a while ago, little thing, you know, I'm going to move into CPA account training. Is that a core activity? Yeah, I'm not going to change my financial risk. I should use my company WACC. Okay, big paragraph. However, Canvia and the Eurozone do not match when it comes to economic and political factors. In essence, Colvin is operating its core activity in a higher systematic risk area. Acumen. Understanding external factors and differences in real life factors. Keep going. Looking at the macroeconomic factors such as substantial difference in inflation rates, 5-point difference in the tax rates, instability of the economy are all high systematic risk factors. In addition, the frequent change in the political landscape enhances the argument to increase the cost of capital. Acumen. The correct justification as to why there should be a difference in the discount rate. Now, I'm proud of that paragraph because I've basically explained systematic risk there and then going to pick up the mark for acumen. Okay. It could also be argued on grounds of prudence that if the project is acceptable at 16%, it would be at the lower 13%. Skepticism. This makes sense. In other words, what he's saying is if you are going to appraise it at a higher rate and it becomes positive, then at the lower rate, it will definitely be positive. So it makes sense in that area. And I think this is toward the end. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, my last one. This is the only area of concern is how the 16% was arrived at. Skepticism, questioning the 16% value, because what should have been done is de-gear, re-gear into WACC. And that's the calculation of a RA WACC is a sequential process rather than estimated value. And that is what I mean about how things are going to change. And that's how things are going to alter up. And it is a real skill. This is going to be a real skill. There's going to be some straightforward elements. This is going to be the straightforward element, provided you've got the skill there. But the key bit is when you're going through the learning phase of this course, you've got to understand where these marks are going to come from. Because you pick it up at the learning phase, when you come to applying it in the exam, it's going to be a lot easier effectively to deal with. And that is what we mean by effectively the professional skills within a question.